Hey, everybody.
Yo.
What up?
Welcome to the Wrestling Through the Years podcast. I'm Dizzle, and I'm here with the greatest mind in the history of wrestling fans, Dutchy.
How you doing? My crotch is chafed.
There you go. And I'm here with the man that puts the E in erection, Eric. How you doing, bub?
Pretty good.
E money, E. He's the man with the plan. And we're here to talk SummerSlam 2000, damn it. And this is prime in the Attitude Era. You know, they're kicking WCW's ass up and down the lawn.
Oh, my
by
God.
This point.
They're like beating the shit out of them.
Russo's long gone and fucking up elsewhere.
Yeah.
WCW is on its last legs.
Yeah.
Literally on their last
They
legs.
weren't even on legs right now. They were rubbing their asses up against the carpets like dogs that have worms do.
Right.
I was trying to be nice.
Why?
Trying to be nice.
They suck. Just say it. No, they weren't doing good. They had idiots running the company.
Yeah, the product wasn't that great.
Yeah. But here, even though like some of the stuff they had on SummerSlam was just like it still was good enough that you still had a really good SummerSlam card.
Yeah.
So anything that WWF put out at the time was still, even like their fucking jacked and metal shows were better than anything WCW was putting out on Nitro or Thunder.
Yeah.
Doug, do you remember you saying this is probably best SummerSlam? You said that 4 years ago on the podcast.
Yeah.
Before we did this.
Because I think this is because this really it. Well, to me, my favorite is always going to be 1991.
Yep, that's what you said.
But this one, like top to bottom, this and 98 were really good.
Yeah.
Yep.
As far as favorite SummerSlams?
No, as far as like top to bottom, like best SummerSlams.
Yeah.
My favorite's always going to be 91.
It's a good show, but I don't think this is like that great. And I don't think it ages that well. Not that, like, it's got some gems on it, and there's some really good shit on here. But I do think that there might be more misses than hits, maybe. But we'll see. Going back into it.
I wanted to find that old audio that we did 4 years ago, but I couldn't find it.
Yeah, but what if I was singing its praises back then?
Yeah.
So I wanted to compare it to what we did tonight.
Gave it a 10 out of 10. Nah, it's a pretty good show with some good stuff. And I do think that there's stuff out here that probably lives on and that are genuine moments, specifically from the TLC match. And the main event's just kind of a fun – it's a fun time, but also like a crazy because of the shit that goes down in it.
Yeah.
But that match is just crazy that it was pulled off. It's one of those matches that they got it in the ring somehow, but and completed it.
And you also got to remember, too, Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit went 2 out of 3 falls in this thing.
Yeah.
Steve Blackmon and Shane McMahon had a decent hardcore match. You had the stuff with Undertaker and Kane that was pretty decent. X-Pac and Road Dogg was, a good mid-card match.
Well, take us into the first match, Doug. What did we start out with? Besides, what did you think of the video package with Blassie?
I always liked Freddie Blassie's video packages.
Yeah.
Because even though he was a heel back in the day, he was that good old-time voice that really, like, he represents the history of the company.
Yeah.
So I love it when he does the video pack. I loved it when he did the pep talk for the WWF leading into Invasion.
Yeah.
Like when Brooklyn Brawler brought him in, and he basically told everybody, you got to stand up, you got to fight. And then, even though he's sitting in a wheelchair, but he gave this impassioned speech, and everybody was willing to fight then. And then, of course, you have Shane and Stephanie go into the parking lot as he's getting ready to leave and tell him that he needs to die. Tell that to your father. But like it just, and they're getting like he motivated them, and then Shane and Stephanie are just like, you know what? How dare you? And it's like, what do you mean, how dare you? Like fucking, you know, he's motivating the troops. They weren't motivated. I love how Freddie Blassie, he always gets so passionate, and even like in that old age, you know, he in his voice, he's just like, yeah, welcome to, you know, it's SummerSlam. He's just given the details, and it's always very well done.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I thought it was a pretty cool open. You liked it, Eric? He liked it.
Yeah. Eric, you know you can talk when we throw it to you, right?
Yeah. It was pretty decent.
And why didn't you?
But first match, who do we got?
Too Cool and Rikishi versus Steven Richards, Bull Buchanan, and the good father of Right to Censor.
This was interesting.
Yep.
And probably Stevie Richards' best run.
You know, they say it's his best run, but if you look at it, he got pinned more than anybody.
He took a lot of the losses, but that was probably his most over shit. It was the most he was getting booed as like a heel, and he was getting really booed. You could say it's because of like who he was playing, but he had to play it well enough to get people to. And he pissed people off by making the Godfather lame, and they pissed Godfather off making the Godfather, because the Godfather hated him in real life because of it. Charles Wright wasn't a fan of him.
No.
Which is kind of funny.
Well, the Godfather character also, too, did run its course.
Yeah, but he was like kind of he was over, and he was making merchandise and good money, and they kind of took that away from him.
Yeah.
And so I understand. Val Venus also was kind of, they were already trying to wean off of that.
Yeah.
But I even though, and he joins this not too long after this, right?
Yeah, about 2-3 weeks after.
Yeah.
This match was interesting, and Too Cool was over as fuck. It was an interesting way to open the show, because it's not like a WCW open it with cruiserweights and a high-flying action. There was some good wrestling in this, but it was kind of like a theatrics match to open it up.
Yeah. And the thing about this match, too, is it's one thing. Rikishi and Too Cool were so over that they could take losses and still be fine.
Yep.
Even though this Right to Censor gimmick, everybody hated, like I hated it, but they were doing so well with it that you could not afford to beat them this early.
Right?
Yeah. You could not afford to beat them this early. Now,
yeah,
like with Steven Richards, I mean, and he's doing, like you said, he's doing the best work of his career.
Yeah.
Now, there were times where I was hoping that somebody would botch a power bomb, but like it just even like that frog face.
Yeah.
Like, because he's got a pretty good frog face. Like you just want to fucking just like smash it in with a hammer. But you know, so it was an interesting match. I would say 3-1 would be what I would give it.
Out of 5?
Yeah.
Eric.
Give it 2.5 out of 5. It was an average opener.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I'll give it a 2-4. Because I thought it was good, and I thought it was fun enough. And thank God they didn't have podcasts back then, because Rikishi would have been the way he bitches now. He'd be complaining hard back then.
Yep.
I'm just kidding. But
well, it wasn't podcast back then; it was radio shows. But a lot of wrestlers didn't have radio shows because back then,
did Rikishi go on Stern? That would have been funny.
He didn't go on Stern, but I know like Steve Austin went on Stern, and like Triple H had gone on Stern
Yeah.
before.
Yeah, I know that.
I think it was around the time Vince went on Stern.
Vince? Wow.
Yeah.
He like told too much on.
Yeah.
I think because that's when he first revealed about, having an affair.
Yeah. Which is dumb. But yeah, like a lot of the mid card guys really. The only time, son of a bitch need to stay in.
That's what she said.
Yeah. The only time like mid card guys went on, like the talk shows is if like Regis and Kelly were doing a special week.
Yeah.
Or at that time it might have been Regis and Kathy Lee. But that's like the only time that somebody like a Rikishi would do, because a lot of those main level appearances were usually used for, or those talk show appearances were used for main level stars.
Yeah. Yeah. What? So yeah, I think we can all. I went 2-4. Would you go 3-1?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I do think this is the best Stevie Richards. I do think they could have put a strap on him. I know they got tag belts, but
Yeah, I mean,
European.
he held the hardcore title later on.
yeah. But I could have seen him with the Intercontinental title around this time.
Yeah.
They still had the European titles, right? European.
Yeah, I mean, they could have put that on him too.
So I think he was kind of having a run. And Too Cool was always a fun act.
Yeah.
All right. X-Pac and Road Dogg.
So this was funny because they had been building tension to this for a few weeks.
Yeah.
And then, like, I mean, even Monday night on the Monday night before on Raw, they were still teaming. And so this was just going to be like a friendly competition, but you knew at that time they still wanted to do stuff with X-Pac. Road Dogg was okay, I guess, or he wasn't necessarily okay, but they felt like the Road Dogg act was starting to, stale.
Yeah.
So, but there was still more they wanted to do with Sean Waltman. As far as the match goes, I mean, it was a good back and forth match, and it got both guys on the card.
And that, I mean, Road Dogg was one of those in the Attitude Era, though, that was hyping the crowds. I relate him to Conan.
Yeah.
Because they would both come out, do their shit, and it was fire, and the crowd got rowdy
Yeah.
for both of them.
Well, because he could come out, cut a promo, and then after he cuts the promo, unfortunately, he had to wrestle.
Yeah.
And he wasn't necessarily the best wrestler, but he could talk you into the building.
Yeah.
Same thing with Conan, although Conan probably was a better wrestler.
Oh yeah.
What do you think, Eric?
I thought Road Dogg was kind of boring at this time. As you said, his gimmick started to get stale. He was nothing without Billy Gunn.
I agree. Well, I do think him and K Quick were fun.
Yeah. Yeah, him and K Quick were fun. I do think that a lot of times there was, in TNA he got better.
Yeah.
But here you could just tell the popularity was waning a little bit.
Yeah.
As far as the match goes, I would probably say 2-6.
2-6.
I'm going to give it a 2.7.
2.6.
Not 26 out of 5.
No.
I like X-Pac a lot. I do think the right guy won.
Yeah.
I do like
Yeah.
Road Dogg as well, and I always enjoy his work, but I like X-Pac a lot. I'm a big X-Pac guy. And because he's one of the better in-ring workers of all time. I do think Road Dogg is in the top 15 to 20 talkers of all time. He's like one of the better on the microphone. But he's more of, like I said, a hype the crowd up, which is good. You're there to hype the crowd up. But he is like he kind of comes in like a DJ and spits his stuff. You know, he's a really good promo.
Yeah.
Like he had the promo, Brad had the wrestling.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is that Brad was always the better wrestler of the brothers.
Yeah, because Road Dogg could go, but it wasn't nothing crazy.
So, all right, what did Eric cover?
Excuse me.
2-8
Eric,
for
what
me.
you give?
2-8. How about you?
2-8. I agree. Viva la raza. You ready to move on?
Sure.
Did we miss any segments?
Not that I know. I don't think there might have been like the segment where, or I don't know if it happened later on or not. The segments escaped me. I paid more attention to the stuff going on in the ring. But I do know that they had like where Kurt Angle kept thinking about going into Stephanie McMahon's dressing room, because this was like right after Kurt kissed Stephanie.
Yeah, this is my favorite story.
After they replayed that.
Well, not my favorite, but it's up there. I really like that storyline. The main event and the build to it, I thought was fantastic. And I loved the whole Kurt and Stephanie thing and her talking with the girls backstage about it, if he's a good kisser or not. And if he's a hunk or do you think he's a hunk or a hottie, Doug?
I think he's a goof.
Okay. Eric's going hunk. Me and Eric are going hunk.
You're hunking?
We're hunking. You're hottie. All right. Moving on.
The hunkster.
Go ahead.
Nothing.
No, move on to the next match.
All right. You have the listing,
I know, right?
No, I lost it. I need the encyclopedia brain.
It's a mixed tag team for the IC title, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Or am I missing something?
No, I'm pretty sure that's next.
Yeah, it is. All right. Eddie Guerrero and China versus Val Venus and Trish Stratus.
You lost it. I thought you had the gift.
Trish Stratus.
I take back my introduction.
Yeah. You had it on your phone.
I thought you had it on your brain.
Yeah. No.
We work too much.
No kidding. So intergender tag team match for the Intercontinental title. Intergender rules basically means the men can hit the women. Now you can't do that nowadays, although I'm sure the president would like to insert a rule saying that you can. And totally disagree with that like you're in a Big Brother house, then I believe that rules should go away. But Eddie can hit Trish, Val can hit China, they can hit back. And the storyline basically is that like Val Venus did not want, Val Venus was not happy about this match because if Trish got pinned, Val was losing the Intercontinental title.
Yep. And this was a very young green.
Couldn't Trish win the title?
No. Eddie and China could win the title. But if Trish won, then Val, I believe, would retain it.
Yeah.
So And Trish was not a wrestler. She I think only had like one match, and that was against Lita. Or she had like a few matches under her belt, but not much.
Yet.
So, and going against Chyna, like you're severely outmatched. But this was a fun match, and I feel like that this was just. You thought Eddie was going to get the belt here, but then Chyna got it, and it's just like, okay, well, something's coming with Eddie because he's going to want to get the belt.
Yeah, I thought this is where he like steals the belt, steals the spotlight, but not yet.
That comes like a week later.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a very young green Trish Stratus.
Yeah.
This match sucked.
Yeah.
I like the first time Chyna won the Intercontinental title better. The Good Housekeeping match.
Yeah. Because this one, you had Val Venus, who just looked uninterested. Eddie Guerrero was still trying to get his feet underneath him in the company.
Well, because they wouldn't let him talk about his cock anymore and be a porn star. And that's what the kid loved to do. He was a damn good porn star, and they took it away from him. It's like Ron Jeremy getting put in like a soap opera or something.
Oh, yeah.
They're joining a church.
I give this a 1.
Yeah, I'd give it probably I'd give it a 1 too.
Storyline was interesting, but if this was like 5 years later with Trish Stratus, then it might be different.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 1-4.
I'm going 1-2. 1-2, 1-4, 1-0.
Okay.
Eddie Guerrero's the man though, and the Chyna stuff was magic. The segments were always great, and they were good together. Trish and Val, not so much. Trish was better with TNA.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that like they were just trying to make Trish into this big heel manager, but it wasn't working.
It worked with TNA for me.
With TNA, yeah. But adding somebody else into it, there was really no need.
No, which was such a Russo thing too. TNA.
Yeah.
With Trish. And then he goes on to work for TNA. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
You can tell that Val Venus didn't want to work with Trish.
I think all 4 of these people are great in their own ways and have good like matches in them. I just don't think this was one of them. But Eddie's like one of the best ever do it, obviously. Chyna, I always thought Chyna was great. And I think that she was important for the business. And her time in the Attitude Era, I think she was a really good character in the Attitude Era. No matter what anybody says, I think she's a Hall of Famer in her own right. And she was a great character for that era.
Agree with that.
And
I don't think she gets enough recognition as how she changed the women's game.
Yeah. And was she like, Bret Hart in there? No. But I think when she was with a guy that could really put her over and like make her look good, like she could look great and she could be really good in there. And when she would wrestle the dudes, it would look very impressive.
Yeah.
And then she kind of dawned in with the women's title, and some of the matches weren't great, but I liked the feud with Ivory.
Yeah.
And I liked some of the stuff that she did.
Well, and the thing is, giving her the women's title was kind of just like the guys really didn't want to wrestle her anymore because she was becoming a little more fragile because she was starting to look like a woman. And so like it was just like, because like before like she had like the enhancement surgeries, she just looked like one tough dude.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's not a knock on her. It's just,
I know.
And then,
but you got it. Like Shamrock didn't want to wrestle her. You had people because Shamrock's like, I think this might have been before that stuff. Or it might have been after. But Shamrock refused to wrestle her because he was like, I don't want my kids to go watch TV and see their dad hit a woman. I teach my kids not to hit women, so why would they watch TV? And I know a lot of people, it's acting, it's the business, it's just like in a movie or whatever, but some people have their morals and they're allowed to have them, and you got to respect them. And he has his on that. And you know, so you got your people that refuse to do that. You also got your John Moxley's. It's like, fuck it, let's be edgy. I'm going to DDT Willow. And I do think there's room in wrestling for some of that. I know a lot of people are against that stuff, and people are against everything nowadays. I think there's room for wrestling for a little bit of everything besides the Joey Ryan Dick minions. I don't think we need any of that. But I think other than like egregious stuff, I think there's room for a little bit of there's room for thumbtacks. There's room for some crazy shit. There's room for, you know, Extreme Rules matches. There's room for all this stuff. And I think
especially if the woman agrees to do some stuff.
Yes, and if she can work well, like the Penta Chelsea Green match, a great, phenomenal match in Lucha Underground. And I'm sure, and I know Chelsea like felt it the next day, but it was still like, and they took care of her. And because at the end of the day, you're not supposed to hurt anybody. You know, that you are supposed to protect your, and you know, shit happens and that can get crazy. And especially like, you don't want to do it injuring a woman. And that, like, you got to be careful, but it can do the art of storytelling that wrestling's supposed to do.
Yeah.
At times. When you do that.
Trying to pave the way for girls like Jade. Who else?
I thought he was going to say China paved the way for girls like us.
And it's crazy for me thinking of that. It's calling it art and stuff. When my favorite example of that is Bubba Ray Dudley putting Mae Young through the table.
Well, the thing about
it, I'm calling that art, and it is.
And the thing about China was, and again, when she won the women's title, it was around the time where it's just like, we need something for her to do. She's not as believable as she'll kick the guys' asses anymore. So we have to have this. But the thing is, a lot of the girls that they had, you know, back at that time were mostly, they were the Godfather's women.
Yeah. I mean,
you had like a Molly Holly, you had,
and this was we forgot about Victoria in the last one, but
yeah,
because you know, back then, you know, hose was acceptable, and you had the hose, and Victoria was introduced as a hoe. She would go on to be a Hall of Fame. I mean, she should be in the Hall of Fame, but she's not yet, right?
Not yet. I mean, it's her and MlkeyyE have to. I mean, I'm pretty sure they've run out of wrestler wives to put into the Hall of Fame. Well, no, Maurice is probably next, but they're just about out of wrestler wives to put into the Hall of Fame.
And I feel so bad picking on like even Tori and Stacy and stuff, because they did provide great, amazing moments, and especially Ruthless Aggression. I love growing up watching them, believe me. But as far as like a wrestling Hall of Fame, Victoria put on great matches.
Yeah.
Mickie James put on great matches. Some of these people put on really good, and China was like a remarkable figure. I know she's in with DX technically, but China was a remarkable figure.
I think that was one of the things, like when she went into the Hall of Fame, it was important, and her sister Kathy was there. And I remember, you know, Triple H saying, Kathy, you know she's here, you know she's watching. And even though, like, you know, Joni's sister Kathy was just sitting there, and in the back of her head, she's thinking, she's just like, you know, she's thinking, why are you praising her after, like, you know, you broke her heart and all that? But she's also thinking, she's like, at least now Joni's getting her due.
And it's separating real life from business. It just sucks because it's so close and intertwined. And when you're on the road like that, you fall in love with it. Shit gets messy in life and behind the scenes and shit. And everybody's got skeletons, and Triple H's and just we've gotten to see all the Triple H's. We've gotten to see Triple H and hear all the stories. And so, you know, and I do think that he's like probably, and it's not me to judge a person. That's not what that's never what I've wanted to do with the podcast, is I don't like try to talk about how people treat each other behind the scenes. I like to keep it in the ring and like when I'm watching the entertainment. And Triple H has contributed a lot of the best wrestling I've ever seen in my life growing up and watching it. And I've seen Triple H, like when I said I've seen Hulk Hogan, like Triple H is right up there. I've probably seen more Triple H matches than a lot of other guys. I've seen a lot of Triple, and especially my favorite era is like Raw when he was running shit. And I know people hate that.
Yeah,
that's like my second or third favorite. But he is contributing, and now he's booking really good shit. So Triple H has been a part of it and done a lot of good stuff. But so is Chyna, and Chyna deserves her rightful place, like as a solo member of the Hall of Fame.
And it will happen, I'm sure, because everybody's probably going to go in at some point, except for maybe like 2 or 3 people.
All right, let's move on to your favorite match.
Jerry the King Lawler versus Tazz.
Let me ask everybody a question before we start this.
Okay.
Eric, you're from Philly. You grew up here. You were born and raised, baby. You love Philly, so you have a deep love for ECW. And at the end of the day, you enjoy ECW, right?
Yeah.
He touches himself.
If I was old enough, I would have probably.
And Doug, you love all wrestling.
Yeah.
So, did they ruin Tazz?
ECW?
No, WWE.
Yeah. But here's the reason why. In ECW, Tazz was allowed to Tazz was allowed to T-bone suplex, guys, drop them on their heads, just basically throw motherfuckers and all that. Because in ECW, you're allowed to do whatever you want. I mean, if you let New Jack go out there and stab a guy every fucking match, all right, there's no way you're going to tell another guy, oh, yeah, no, you can't drop a guy on his head.
Well, you can do it to a certain extent, but I think especially because they had respect for the ECW guys coming in to an extent, but it's also like, you're not going to come in and be suplexing The Rock right away and shit and get into the main event scene like that. Like, you're going to be doing jobs. If you're going to be like, you'll wrestle Triple H, but you'll lose.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be stuff like that. And then they're trying to make him a heel in the new outfit. And which I don't mind the Attitude Era outfit for Tazz. I don't think he looks that bad. It's not as badass as him coming out with the towel and the singlet. But for what they were trying to do for him for a heel run, I don't necessarily mind that aspect of it. I think he looked okay. He looked kind of badass. Like it looked like Street Fighter shit. So either Street Fighter or fucking maintenance, but it still looked badass. And I think, but yeah, I do think because he was the guy in ECW. He's the world champion. Yep. He's like, and there was like the glass ceiling there. That's why he felt like he had to leave. Like he was beating everybody, and that's kind of what was his whole thing, is to be the guy. Now you're at WWE. There's a lot of other guys. There's a lot of other. You were kind of, and I don't want to say big fish in a small pond because I love a lot of the ECW guys, and I think a lot of those guys were like big fish in their own right.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say that, but you weren't going to go into Vince's company and be in the main event right away. And I know a lot of people probably wanted to see that, but that he was never going to allow that. Like, look how hard fucking poor Booker T had to fucking work. I mean, he did get, pushed pretty hard at first, but he also to get that big run, and because he had to go Booker, he had to do it. And Booker T has a great career, but he's WCW, not ECW. As far who's the Dudleys are probably the best.
They were the most successful because they stayed as a team.
Yeah, because Raven didn't do nothing. Van Dam only got it as far as he was allowed to go, and then when they pulled the trigger on him and let him have that little run, Which, by the way, and R.I.P. Sabu.
Yeah, it was, by the way, and I've got nothing against either a big Rob Van Dam fan, and Sabu was innovative.
Yes.
But you fucking punish RVD for what happened. You take him off TV for 30 days. I get he was the one driving. More than likely, though, Sabu was the one that bought the fucking weed. All right.
I don't think Rob would deny having a bag on him, though.
What I'm saying is Sabu probably bought the fucking weed, and then even though he technically lost, you gift him a title match on pay-per-view and you kind of push him as the guy that could possibly beat the Big Show.
Yeah, but he got squashed.
I mean, yeah, but still, it's just like you're building him up as kind of a credible threat. I mean, until you squash
And
him.
you punish the other guy.
And you punish the other guy when it's Sabu's more than likely the one that supplied the grass.
Yeah, but Sabu, he didn't make it that far after that. You know?
No, because Vince realized that that was not the company for him to be in.
Yeah. RVD, maybe he is the most successful because he got to the motherland. He won the title.
Yeah.
He won the WWE Championship.
And he was over with the crowd.
Yeah. And he was over the whole time. He should have won a championship earlier.
Yeah.
But he finally won the big one. He would, for ruthless aggression and being, and like I said, that's my second favorite era of all time. I grew up during that era and I fucking love it. Yeah. He was the man. He was the people's favorite. Triple H was killing it, and you had like Randy Orton and Batista and all these like up and comers and great, and also like Goldberg was around and legends. But like the fans loved Booker T, they loved RVD, they loved Kane. Those were the guys that were really fucking over. Goldust, those guys were over as hell, at least in my opinion.
Well, and they were, and
that's maybe not Gold. That Goldust was probably more over in the Attitude Era, but still.
And I remember WrestleMania 18, Rob Van Dam was the opening match. Well, that wasn't Sunday Night Heat.
Yeah.
He was the opening match, and when he came out, the place went nuts.
Yeah.
Okay. And when he won the Intercontinental title, the place went even more nuts. Because he was over with it. Now, it helped that he had, when the opening sequence of his theme song hit.
Whatever.
Yeah, and you had that, and he was like, the song was over.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so was
yeah. So
he was the man.
With the, when you have as catchy of a theme song as that, you're gonna get yourself over.
That's fucking Save Cody from booze. Sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Like that song.
Yeah.
It's the same thing of when CM Punk's music hits.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Even this version of Roman's song that he has now, when that hits, people go nuts.
Yeah.
LA Knight music hits, people go nuts. Sammy, Rhea, Randy Orton.
Yeah, everybody's over now, and we're in the era where everybody sings to it.
Yeah,
and it was fun being a part of that at SmackDown and singing Randy Orton's theme song, and to him coming out and singing it to him, because we've been there live before and not singing it to him, and back in the day.
Yeah,
and now it's like that's a big thing to do, and even
though AEW too.
AEW started it.
They did with Edge.
And everybody called it corny, and now they do it in the WWE. Yeah. But there is still people that think it's corny, and maybe it is, but I think it could be fun sometimes. Sometimes it's also like, let the guy fucking fight,
Yeah.
I remember one time, Punk's going in, he's like ready to, and people are saying, "Let Mussolini!" People are still singing.
And when Chris Jericho does come back, I think he'll get a big pop if he comes out to that song.
Oh, to Judas?
If he comes out to Judas, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he will. Tazz and Jerry Lawler. Why introduce? I love how it's like, hey, here's this candy dish that we've had here our whole lives, and we always have this candy dish. We got to have our butterscotch.
Yeah,
JR.
That's pretty much what was in there was butterscotch, Jolly Ranchers, and Starburst.
I mean, it was
and peppermint.
Yeah, it was it was like a mix between an old school, grandmother's and kind of a new school with the Starburst.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that, like, I remember, our grandparents when we grew up, they had, I think as you started, what the fuck?
You had the butterscotch,
yeah,
you had the cinnamons, and you had the strawberries that nobody liked.
And they had like our grandparents had like the smaller dishes that you could fit like four or five like big ones in or whatever it was. And I remember, I think like as I got into my 20s, I think they stopped filling them, which really disappointed the shit out of me. But just, it was the same thing. Going to grandma and grandpa's house. All right, what's in the candy dish?
Oh, I loved butterscotch. I remember eating like 9 of those at a time.
Yeah, the Werthers were fucking.
Oh,
Oh God. Anyway,
I'm going on Amazon. No, but I love it. It's like, yeah, we have this candy dish. Here you go. It's an old school candy dish. Me and Lawler love our candy. And then it's like, it's clearly introduced so you can smash Tazz with it later. And poor Tazz. And I do think, even though especially because you have a babyface ending to this, I know you have heel victories on this card. And this is actually kind of heel heavy to an extent.
well, yeah, I think the first two were heel wins, and then you had Eddie and China win. That was a face win.
Yeah. You know, Cat spreads her cheeks for the
Yeah. Obviously, Blackmon went over. But as far as the main profile matches like Benoit, Jericho, TLC,
yeah,
those were heel.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you had like your mid card baby faces like Blackmon go over.
So yeah, it was pretty balanced. So I don't know if you could have went the other way with this. Maybe you could have. I don't think it would have made it too heel heavy. But Jerry Lawler, and no offense to Tazz, and Tazz was good, but he was kind of cooled down by this point already.
Yeah.
And the announcers were so fucking over. Like the stuff they do with Pat and it is fun now, and Michael Cole and stuff, but nobody was over. And Bobby and Gorilla were super over. But as far as doing stuff with the talent, JR was beloved. Like, you could not tell JR any, and I know because it's and as fans, that was the one thing when you started hearing backstage shit and getting into shit, because JR was talent relations for the longest time, and that's a heat position. That's a job you're going to piss people off because you're hiring and firing people. So when you let somebody go, they're going to hate you. So when I started hearing people be like, "Yeah, fuck JR," it's like, what? He's like the switch. It's like, back out. He was like the greatest guy ever. He was beloved by the fans. When you started hearing JR slander, you're like, holy shit.
I remember when kayfabe commentaries used to be a thing, and they did their U shoots, and Sean Oliver had the dick bag.
Yeah.
And they had like a shit ton of names, and like,
I remember
you have a name, and okay, if he's a dick, he goes in the bag, right?
Yeah.
And Shane Douglas, they pulled JR's name. Shane Douglas looked at JR and said, "Look, he's beloved." And, really, like, I don't hate him.
Yeah.
But he was talent relations when I was there. Because I think he was just starting as talent relations. He was talent relations when I was there. And he's the one that had to fire me. So, dick bag.
Yeah.
And it sucks, but it's just like, but you're going to catch that kind of heat.
But also, who had to work as hard as JR? Because he had, like, Michael Cole had a pretty hard, because he was the like lead announcer, and he had to like take care of all of the announcers, and maybe he still does, and that's a tough job. But imagine having to basically do that and be the lead guy every Monday night and for every pay-per-view, and also you have to be in an office every other day of the week, and you have to, hire and fire and scout and do all the important shit that comes with that.
Yeah.
Like there was a while where JR was like one of the most hardest working dudes in the business. And the passion came off while he was announcing. And fucking, you can never say he phoned it in back then.
No.
That dude was the fucking man. And he was screaming at the top of and his hatred for Triple H is still one of my favorite things of all time.
Every time they go over to the Spanish announce table, he'd go, "Carlos, Hugo, you guys might want to move." And then, like, there was like one spot, and I forget where it was, but JR just goes, "Look out, Carlos and Hugo."
Yeah.
And or like when he did it low key one time, he goes, "Carlos, Hugo, you two may want to vamoose there, gentlemen."
Yeah.
But it's just like his delivery sometimes.
He was so fucking good.
Even back in like 96 at the Survivor Series when Jake Roberts DDTs the King.
Yeah.
And pins him and eliminates him. And JR goes, "See you later, King. We'll see you on Raw tomorrow night."
It was so good.
Yeah.
He just, and like, he's dead. Oh, it's just him going crazy. And trying to be like, "Oh, son of a bitch." He would just go, he was the passion. You could tell that he loved it, and you could tell that he was the biggest fan in the house, and he really cared about the business, and it always can't shine through. And there's been great announcers before, and there's been great announcers since, but he will always be my favorite play-by-play guy, and the attitude and the ruthless aggression.
Yeah.
Once he gets, and the AEW stuff, it's fun to see him still. People get old though, and that happens, and then you lose it a little bit, but he's still JR, and it's still fun to hear him talk about wrestlers and wrestling. And still, when he calls out some AEW's bullshit, it's hilarious.
Did you hear like his latest comments, like when Vince did the Hulk Hogan documentary for TMZ?
Yeah.
So Conrad asked JR, he's like, well, how do you think Vince looked? And he goes, well, if you want my honest opinion, he looked like hell. Like, and it's like that the one old guy that says the other old guy looks old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there was an episode of NCIS one time where Gibbs' father looked at Billy D. Williams. He goes, by God, you got old. And it's just like, and by the way, that guy was older than him.
Yeah.
So it's just like, so when one guy says that the other guy looks older than dirt, and by the way, they're the same age, it's funnier than hell.
Yeah.
Because even JR was just like, nah, I'm not one to talk, but God, Vince looks old.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's like he just looks tired and doesn't want to be out in public.
Now, this match, psychology-wise, I think might be one of Tazz's better matches in the WWE, though, or the WWF at the time, but the WWE.
Yeah.
He was him and Jerry Lawler, like, he is the king of Memphis. He is a ring technician. He is the fucking man in between those ropes. And even though like he gets all like he is so many different runs, he's a legend in his own right. And whether your opinion, I know some of the commentary was pervy and it's weird to listen to, but Jerry Lawler has had one of the most Hall of Fame historic careers of all of wrestling, and so he knows how to get somebody over and also get his shit over. And I do think he was taking those suplexes well.
Yeah.
And I do think he was making Tazz look good, but he was also slowing down the pace. And it was also like it was kind of a war, and it felt like a grudge match. And it felt like, and this is no one ever. And I love Pat McAfee sticking up for Michael Cole. And I always love it. Like Samoa Joe, we've talked about it. We love when announcers stick up. Nobody did it better than Jerry Lawler sticking up for good old JR. Whenever people would fuck with JR and Jerry Lawler would go after him. It was always great television.
Yeah.
The one line I don't like, he doesn't need to go, especially if you're going to talk shit about Vince Russo and make it. And I know that's way more of a parody. Tazz does not need to make fun of Bell's palsy.
No.
And JR's Bell's palsy. I get it, heat, but it's cheap heat. You don't need it. It doesn't need to be on the show. And it's just kind of mean. And I get it, and it's a heel. I'm not one of those conspiracy theorists like you were trying to bully JR on that one, but it is one of those like it was unnecessary. You can just call him
together now. So.
You can make fun of him in so many other ways without fucking giving him his most insecure cheap shot.
And like now, this, or go ahead, Eric.
I was gonna ask, did Tazz and King have real life beef?
No, I mean,
no, they were friends.
No, they're friends. Okay. They work together now, practically.
Yeah, I think they have a mutual respect for each other.
Yeah,
but I think Tazz was probably just fed that line, or he was like, "This would be edgy." I mean, so when you're going for edgy, it can be tasteless sometimes. Yeah. And I like edgy shit, but sometimes it's also like, do we need to do that? And trust me, I'm not like that on a lot of. Like I said, I think there's a room for a lot of shit. But if you're going to bitch about the Ed Ferrara, Vince Russo shit so much, you should probably also criticize this if you're going to be a huge fucking detractor of that, even though that was much more egregious, way worse, and way fucking shittier TV.
By the way, I'm giving the match probably a 2-4.
The candy dish moment was fun as fuck, and it was cool.
Yeah.
And seeing Chair like, nah, fuck you. And I'm gonna give it the 3. Because I think it was fun. And it was honestly like the first, like, even though the next match provided a real moment that you would talk about for like years and still gets brought up on highlight reels, This match, I think, was the first kind of little moment of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the funny thing. Like the next night when they continued it, and JR and King, of all people, helped Steve Blackman retain the hardcore title.
Yeah.
And Steve Blackman, by the way, was one of those champions that were like, if somebody interfered in his match, even if they were helping him, he would still hit them with like one of his kendo sticks.
Yes.
But he just kind of glanced over at JR and King and was just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to hit JR.
And they busted Tazz open hard way.
Yeah. Well, he had glass in his eye, I think. Or that was like the thing. He's just like, you put glass in my eye, even though he technically.
But he was really bleeding, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And it was from the glass jar. I don't think he bladed.
No.
Eric, did you give it a rating?
I'll give it a 3.
All right. Let's move on. Like I said, the first highlight reel really moment of the show. Our next match is Steve Blackman and Shane McMahon, which I think this one is perfect, and it does everything you need it to do. It's not a long match. Blackman looks like a badass. Shane looks like a badass almost, and Shane, this is kind of the first like, oh, Shane's a daredevil.
Yeah,
it's kind of like, oh my god, and then you go into the Kurt Angle match like a year after this, and then you start going into like the Kane stuff and him on years.
Well,
and I know
he did a jump. He did a jump on Big Show too.
Yeah,
but this was like the first like major bump that he took.
Yeah, and this was, and I'm a Shane McMahon fan. I think
Tony McMahon I like.
He's the best one in the ring. And his style kind of gets shit on, but as far as like a daredevil, he's right up there with Jeff Hardy. He will put his shit on. He does not give a fuck. He'll fly off of whatever you tell him to fly off of, and he will give you that moment to where you're talking and you're like, oh my god, and it's like it'll be on highlight reels for life. He's like searching for that. He wants to be the best thing on the show. And that's like admirable because he has a personality and he is fun, but he's not the character his sister is, and he knows it.
Yeah.
And he's not the character his dad is, and he knows it. So I'm going to fly off shit and I'm going to make you fucking remember me. And I always respect
Yeah, because his promos really were not that good.
He was like all right as the stuck-up douchey kid and the rich kid in the Attitude Era. And I did like some of the like fucking energized baby face. I'm sticking up for my mom, like sticking up for the family type shit and the ruthless aggression era. Yeah. But it was never like 5-star shit. It was like mediocre to good promos.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the greatest stuff ever. But he could talk a little bit, but his main stuff was I'll fly off a cage, I'll fly off the stage, he'll Dr. Seuss it. He'll fly off whatever. He'll fly off a book on a page.
Yeah.
All right. Diamond Dallas Page. What will we give this match? I think it did everything it needed to do because I think you leave thinking Steve Blackman's really cool, but also like, holy shit, did you see what Shane McMahon did? Yeah. You got everybody over and everybody looked good. I'm going to give it a 3-9.
I'm going to say 4-1.
I'm going to say 3.5.
Because these guys can't put on a wrestling classic, but to put on these guys' strengths, that's what this match did. It put on both of these guys, and it made both these guys look as good as possible, and I can respect that. Now, 2 out of 3 falls match, Benoit, Jericho, 2 of the better ring technicians to ever step in a ring.
It was probably the best.
I'm not going to lie, this isn't my favorite match.
No, they've had way better.
Oh, yeah, they had way better.
You were talking shit about, and this is a short match anyway, so it's not like it went an hour like Steamboat and Flair, but you were always talking, it kind of broke your cardinal rule of getting a fall within the first 5 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because that's one of your things where you're like, I hate when a 2 out of 3 falls match. I mean, they didn't take 20 minutes between the next match because it was a short match.
Yeah, it went 13 minutes.
Yeah, so it didn't totally break your rule, but you did get a thing very quick. It was a submission actually, but I think these guys are capable of better. It was hard hitting. It was intense from the get-go, and these guys did put a lot into it. But I just think that they've had better. They've done better. Even the 2 out of 3 falls match at Mania with Kurt was way better.
Yeah, the 1 fall, 2 titles.
Yeah,
I mean, that match and the fact that they were just kind of focused on each other and forgot that Kurt was even in the match.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like what would happen in the main event of this show, except for it's not that they forgot Kurt was in the match. It was
Took himself out of the match.
He took himself out of the fucking match. He took himself out, and we'll obviously get to that later. But this match, it was okay, but it wasn't really anything to write home about. I'm gonna say 3-2.
Yes.
I'll just give it a solid 3.
I'm going to give it a 3-3. No, I'll go 3-1.
Okay.
Because I think it was okay. And it was good. It was good wrestling between the two of them. I've seen them do better.
Yeah.
Didn't they have a ladder match?
It was good compared to like what other people could do. So you can't always judge it on to their other stuff. If you're judging it as an overall wrestling, I think it was a good match.
They had a ladder match, didn't they?
Yeah, at the Royal Rumble of next year.
But 2 out of 3 falls is also one of my favorite stipulations, and I don't know if this one did it justice.
No.
So
No.
I mean, the one we talked about last week probably did better.
way better.
Oh, yeah.
Way
100%.
better. We gave it 5 stars. Edge and Christian, the Dudley Boyz, and the Hardy Boyz, tables, ladders, and chairs. This is what, if anyone was going to watch one match on this card, this would be the match.
Yeah.
Yep.
By the way, they're in Raleigh, North Carolina, which is where the Hardys live.
And we just had a SummerSlam recently, and they just brought back a TLC match because of how popular it is.
Yeah. And by the way, so the TLC match that happened a couple weeks ago, not necessarily as classic as this one. I mean, the 6 teams that were in it busted their ass.
It was still very good.
Candice
Candice LeRae took a hell of a bump.
Candice LeRae fucking bruised in her front lower and her back lower. Like all around, like makeup did one hell of a job on that.
Yeah, because she got fucked up.
Yeah,
and everybody went really hard. But this match is one of the best TLCs ever.
Yeah,
and isn't it one of the first ones too, if not the first?
Well, so technically,
the ladders match I know at WrestleMania.
At WrestleMania, it was the triangle ladder match, but they ended up calling it a table ladder match. And this is way before Edge and Christian. At WrestleMania, it was way before Edge and Christian started using the chairs.
Yeah, and doing the concertos and shit.
Yeah. But now they started doing it, so it's like, all right, tables, ladders, and chairs. And this match was so... Because, by the way, these 3 teams have amazing chemistry with each other.
Yeah, and they were all in their peak at their best, too. Because Bubba and D-Van were great as the brawlers, the guy to keep it on the ground and put you through a table. The Hardy Boyz were the epitome of cool back then, and they just looked like the guys you wanted to be.
Yeah.
And then Edge and Christian were the biggest douchebags of all time, and the flash photography and all that. They were just they were oozing with charisma, as they would say, and they were very good. It was great heels. It was great baby faces. It was a great match, and Jeff Hardy, oh my God. Like I was talking, and yes, Shane McMahon is, like I said, up there with Jeff Hardy, but he's not Jeff Hardy. There's one Jeff Hardy when it comes to being a fucking daredevil.
And this wasn't the one where he hung from the belt. He was on the ladder.
Yeah.
But he wasn't hanging from the belts. That was at WrestleMania.
I know. But he still did some crazy bumps.
Which one do you think was better? This one or 2?
Fuck.
I have to rewatch 2. But I'm gonna say
2, I think, was marred by the fact that you had to have Rhino and Spike and Lita do a bunch of shit.
That one reminded me of this recent one a bit more because you put other people in.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that like I'll even say TLC 3, which was they added Benoit and Jericho to it, and it was the first time a TLC match was ever on like network television.
Yeah. I really liked the one where Joey Mercury got fucked up.
Yeah.
And the one with London and Kendrick and the Hardys.
Yeah. And Regal and Taylor, who, by the way, did not want... They're just like... Regal's just like, what do we got to do?
That was fun for me, though. They were scared to climb the ladder.
Yeah. It's like, what do you mean you got to do, guys? You got to... The belts are, above the ladder. Climb the ladder.
Like the fact that you had some of the most athletic guys ever... like London, Kendrick, Jeff Hardy, John Morrison.
Yeah.
All on TLC. But this one does have a case for being one of the best ones. I'm going to give this a 4-7. I think it's close to perfect.
I would say 4-7 as well.
Okay.
I'm gonna say 4-8.
There you go.
Isn't it ironic that the week that we do this, Edge and Christian kind of reunited?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm cool with it. I
like
think
it.
they should do one last run. Even though it's just going to probably be them in the box at some point. But I do. I like
it wasn't
that.
a full reunion yet, but because Christian wasn't like into the hug, but
I think they would be very good challenges for the Hurt Syndicate. I don't think they should beat the Hurt Syndicate, but I do like them coming together to try to maybe get like one last run.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
did you hear like all the stuff about apparently MVP throwing his weight around?
Yeah.
Like backstage and, basically saying, because like there was, they're talked about, okay, well, Jet Speed, is going to challenge you guys for the belts. Okay, it's going to be a squad. Well, no, they're going to be competitive. Well, then we're not going to do it. That's why the patriarchy was added to that match, because MVP thinks Speedball Mike Bailey is shit. And I know you kind of share that sentiment with him. But like, and then there was like another thing, like, it was either Bobby Lashley or Bobby Lashley that wanted this whole MJF thing to end. Like, they're saying there was a member of the Hurt Syndicate that was not MVP, which makes me think it was Bobby Lashley. And, he wanted MJF out of the group because he's just like, he doesn't fit. No shit.
I think it's fun.
It was, but Lashley didn't want to have fun. Lashley to me is, in his old age, he's going to be 50 soon. Fun's just not his thing.
Well, let's just see how the story plays out. Fuck.
Well, and then like there was another thing
for like Triple H. Let's just watch the story play out.
And then apparently there was another
I'm not
story
giving up on that one yet.
where they talked about FTR being the ones to challenge the Hurt Syndicate and beat them for the titles, and MVP's like, no.
Can you blame them? They're heels right now.
Yeah.
And they blow.
Yep.
They are not Tully and Arn. I'm tired of this shit. They're not. They had some good matches, and they're not a bad tag team. Are they one of the best modern tag teams, in my opinion? No. I don't think so. And I don't think that they should challenge the Hurt Syndicate or beat them. I mean, I like Edge and Christian going in. I like the old guard trying to go up against them, and then maybe make that a squash even. Have Syndicate beat the shit out of. I think there's some of the best stuff on the show. I think let's see how all this stuff plays out.
I mean, MVP had even said, he's like, if you want a smaller team to beat us, he goes, we'll lose to the Outrunners. They squashed the Outrunners on pay-per-view like 3 months ago.
Yeah. Yeah, Mike Bailey sucks. Can you blame it? I honestly don't blame on MVP at either of those two selections.
Well, and what's funny is that, like, some people are saying that, like, MVP's throwing his weight around. He doesn't have creative control. He probably just thinks, he probably looked at something, said it sucked.
He's just giving his opinion.
And Tony Khan, being the people pleaser that he is just like, okay.
Well, why can't he just be a boss that listens to people's opinions?
Well, and that's what I'm saying, is that, like, he just, okay, you think it sucks. That means you don't want to do it. I'm not going to make you. So that's that. And people are saying, oh, he's got creative control. He's abusing it. He doesn't have creative control. He saw something. He thinks it sucks.
It's not right for him.
Tony Khan, is just like, okay, if you don't like it, you're not doing it.
Well, maybe he's like, all right, yeah, you're right. This is fucking stupid. Let's not do it. It could be as simple as that. Now, let's talk about my favorite match as a kid, and probably one of the best, crowd pleasers that you could put on a card. And and today's by the way, the Stink Faces made a comeback because Rhea Ripley broke the fucking internet like last year.
Yeah.
When she did that stick face on Nia, and it got like fucking 100 million views, and everybody was like, so you know, people were the stink face match. Maybe that could make a comeback. You had basically the Cat, you know, Jerry Lawler's wife at the time.
Yeah.
You know, Mrs. Lawler, who, you know, was wearing a very nice white thong bikini that showed off the buttocks, the old cheeky cheeks. And she ended up spreading those onto Miss Terry, old Mrs. Runnels, Dustin, Gold Dusty.
Yeah.
Were they exes at the time?
They were exes at the time.
So Mrs. X Dust.
She had not started getting plowed by New Jack yet.
Okay. And she's with old Perry Saturn, who's a great, I love Perry.
And by the way, the Cat was accompanied to the ring by Al Snow.
And the Cat wipes her butt with Terry's face. And that's the match. It's a stink face match. You got to wipe your butt on the opponent's face. And once you wipe your tushy on their face, you win the match. Now, she hit her with head because she was with Mr. Snow, Al Snow, with, by the way, another ECW guy that did some good shit.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He knew how to be entertaining, and he could also work.
Yeah.
And the fact that, you know, he could work.
And he's one of the better trainers to ever go, too. He trained a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly.
So she gave her head, and then she spread her ass on her.
Yeah, she just, like, that whole thing, it was basically just to make sure that the crowd was still into what was going on.
It's more of a segment.
Yeah. Well, no, the next match is more of a segment.
This
This was technically a match.
That's my favorite part of when Bruce talked about it, when they did something to wrestle with. I think this is like 2017. I remember listening to it at work like 5 years ago. So, yeah, I think like 27. Is that 5 years? Yeah, that's one.
It would be 2020. It would be 5 years.
Yeah. And fucking Conrad's like, shit, on pay-per-view, she gave her head and spread her butt cheeks on her face. And I thought that was hilarious. And he's not wrong. That's what she did.
Yeah.
But she hit her with head, which head was a famous instrument of Al Snow's.
Yeah, it was a mannequin head.
Yes, that he talked to.
Which, by the way, like, I remember when the fucking, like, law professor fucking wrote a paper saying that that was an actual woman's head.
Yeah.
Or, like, they turned it into a thing or something. Because in, like, late 99, the government, and a lot of it had to do with the fact that Martha Hart was really trying to, you know, because Martha Hart was still accusing Vince McMahon of killing her husband. Even though the whole Owen thing was an accident. It was an avoidable accident, but it was still an accident. But you had this law professor, I think Harvard Law, wrote a paper saying that Al Snow was carrying an actual woman's head. Like, that he killed this woman, he chopped off her head, and now he carries it to the ring. First of all, he's been carrying the damn thing for 2 years. All right? If that were a real head, it would be decayed.
And by the way, I had never heard, I always thought it was just a power slam. JR was getting real into the crotch slams here.
Yeah.
Another crotch slam. That shit was killing me. And this match for anything is worth it for JR. Well, if it's worth it if you're a fucking, you know, if you're a lonely bastard. But it's also worth it if you're if JR and King's commentary is hilarious.
Yeah.
It fucking just kick. Oh! It's just so good. They make the match almost. I'm going to give this a 2.5 because I think it's fun. And it's funny.
I'm going to agree.
Terry and Cat had quite the feud.
Yeah.
The only singles match at WrestleMania 2000.
They had quite the feud, but it's just like they just needed something for the two of them to do.
They feuded for too long. Like the fact that this went through WrestleMania all the way to SummerSlam. It was like Cena and Cody.
Yeah.
That guy Cena and Cody wasn't a stick face match.
Yep. I give this a 2.
All right. What'd you give it, Dutchy? What she had a bear?
2.5.
All right. Next up, we're going to go Undertaker and Kane. This ends in a known contest after 7 minutes. This was Kane and Undertaker is one of my favorite WWE feuds ever. I do think that is a fun feud. This is one of the more lame attempts at it, honestly, though.
Yeah.
I don't think that this had for the co-main for the evening, and this is two big behemoths, and ended in a no contest. I mean, like their WrestleMania matches, all of them were better than this, in my opinion. And even the feud in 2011, I thought was kind of better. Yeah, like I think that this was okay, but the build up, like Kane just started beating the shit out of him out of nowhere.
Well, yeah, because Kane is working. All right, so here's basically what happens. You have Fully Loaded, which was the July pay-per-view. Yeah. And you have Undertaker, who needs to go have reconstructive knee surgery. Or not even reconstructive knee surgery. He needed arthroscopic knee surgery. So Big Show comes back. They attack Undertaker. They take him out. He's gone for a few weeks. So now Big Show is going to work Kane. And then Kane needed a couple weeks off. So they took him out. And then Undertaker comes back, takes out Big Show, because Vince is realizing that Big Show, A, is too fat and needs to lose weight. And B, because he's too fat, he sucks.
Yeah.
So get him off TV. So instead of
going to Cornette, bitch.
Yeah. So instead of Undertaker and Big Show being the SummerSlam match, which I think a lot of people were thinking at that time, it's like, okay, now we're going to bring Kane back. We'll bring Kane back. We're going to turn him heel, and then that'll be it.
Even though Kane had such a fun babyface run in 2000.
Yeah.
And just to undo all of that, just to make him mean again, just felt kind of weird.
He's like, my brother is human. He shouldn't be human. He needs to be a freak.
Yeah, it was weird.
And then, like, fucking Kane coming out and doing commentary with JR.
This was when he was getting mad about weird shit, like Jericho dumping coffee on him.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I don't think that this, like I said, this is one of the more lamer attempts. I don't think the match was really anything. It was kind of hard hitting, and they brought a little bit of a big fight feel to it, but it flustered out quickly.
I don't even think the bell rang.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give it was a fun little brawl, but I'm only gonna give it a 2 again. I'm giving it less than the stink face match.
I'm gonna say 2-3.
I'm gonna say 1-5.
Okay. All right, next up, the main event, The Rock, the champion, and like we said, Triple H and Kurt Angle, who are fighting over Stephanie McMahon's love, baby. Because Kurt Angle, is a fucking pervy little bastard and is trying to go after a married woman. That scumbag.
I mean, he was doing what all men in America were doing back at that time, even back at this time.
And he was trying to get them cheeks, and Triple H didn't like that. And this was honestly one of my more favorite storylines back then. I thought that this was super fun, and I think it was cool that you had a main event because I don't know why, but they were like, Rock and Triple H is so hot. It's such a great feud, but we always need to add shit for some reason. But this is way better than a McMahon in every corner. Yeah. And I'll take this all day over to WrestleMania 2000 because this was a lot of fun. Rock looked really good as the top babyface, and he got huge pops. But also, people were kind of invested in the Kurt Triple H thing. And like, oh, is Stephanie going to like side with Kurt, or is she going to side with Hunter?
Well, because even then, they went for like 5-10 minutes before Rock even came out.
Yeah, that was the plan.
Yeah. And then that was the deal. And then he, because the plan was pedigree through the table, Kurt gets taken out.
Yeah.
And then he comes back because he's part of the finish. But the table gave way. And as Triple H is trying to reach down and protect Kurt's head had already hit the concrete.
Yeah.
And fucking
he's concussed.
They take him to the back, and then him and Rock just go for like a little bit. And then it gets to be to where like the match went about 20 minutes. So we're about like 17, 18 minutes in.
Him telling the story is hilarious.
Yeah.
Too.
When he goes to Earl Hebner, he's like, Earl, we're getting close to the finish now. Because him and Rock were just adding shit.
Yeah, they were just ad-libbing. That's why when I said earlier, this match is one of the more fun matches because everything went wrong, but you had 3 professionals that just made it fucking happen.
Yeah.
And still made, and you wouldn't have known it. I mean, you could tell Kurt was a little loopy, but on a first watch, you'd be like, oh, this is a well done match.
Yeah, because Triple H and Rock are just like, what the fuck do we do? And Triple H is just like, work. So they worked, and then finally they were running out of shit to do. And Triple H goes over to Earl and says, Earl, I don't give a fuck what's going on. Just, we need to know two things. One, is Kurt okay? And two, can he come back out here? And Earl, gets on the microphone and goes and asks, and then he goes up to the guys. He goes, all right, one, Kurt is not okay. And two, as soon as you call for it, he'll come back out here. It's like, what?
One, he's not okay. Two, he's coming back out.
Yeah. And then
hilarious.
They bring him out. Like, Stephanie has to guide him to the ring because he has no idea where the fuck he is. And he gets in the ring.
Yeah,
and
Kurt describes it as Stephanie brings him out to the ring, and Stephanie basically guides him and tells him what to do. And she says, "Get in the ring." Or no, he's like, "What do I do?" And she's like, "Pull Rock out. Take Rock's ankle, pull him out, then stop the fall." And then he does it. And then he looks at her, and she's like, "Now throw him into the steps." And he's like, "All right." And so he's like completely concussed, just taking instructions like a labradoodle from Stephanie McMahon.
Yeah. And then they do the thing where he's supposed to go to punch Kurt. Kurt's supposed to duck, and he still has no clue where the fuck he is. And so Kurt's supposed to duck the punch, and Triple H is supposed to hit Stephanie. So Triple H is just like, he's looking and he's going to hit Kurt, and Kurt, his fist is getting closer to Kurt's face, and Kurt's not moving. And so he has to push Kurt's head down so he can hit Stephanie.
Yeah, Triple H was working overtime that day.
Which I don't know why Stephanie didn't just push him down.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe she could, because he was probably dead weight standing up.
Triple H didn't get hurt, did he?
No. Not that I know of. And then, but these guys were just like, for everything that went wrong in that match,
it's still a great main event.
It was still a very good match, because I swear to God, this
still kind of fucking lines up. You could put this up against a lot of SummerSlam main events. Like, if Cody and Cena was better than this, but this is better than a lot of SummerSlam main events.
Diesel Mabel.
Yeah.
This is a horrible example.
This is way better than that. But even, like, what was the year before? Austin and who?
99. That was Austin, Triple H, and Mankind, and that was the
Jesse
one.
Ventura. This was way better than that.
Yeah, because you didn't have some idiot in there dictating what was going on just because he didn't want to go heel in his hometown.
Yeah.
Even though he's been a heel his entire fucking life.
Yeah. This match, I'm gonna give it a 4-3 because I think all guys really tried their asses off.
Yeah.
And Stephanie, everybody in this was trying to make it a spectacle, and I think it really was. And the crowd went home happy with Rock as the champ.
Yeah.
And this was kind of like what you needed out of WrestleMania. So it was a great ending. It was like we saw it again this year. Sometimes when you have a shitty WrestleMania, they really make up for it at SummerSlam, and they did it this year too.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that, like, when you have that, it's just like, okay, did this leave a bad taste in your mouth? Or did WrestleMania leave a bad taste in your mouth? Well, we'll give you a better payoff at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
And
they really did it here.
And by the way, I'm going 4-7 because I really did enjoy this. Again, for as much shit went wrong here, like, if WCW did this,
yeah,
like, we would be fucking...
Oh, because they would have fucked it up so much worse.
Yeah. Like, we would be fucking all over them.
Yeah. Because
they would not know what the fuck to do.
But WWE kept it so professional. If it was Goldberg and Giant in there and that happened, oh my God.
Yeah.
They might just stop and go and leave the ring and go in the back. like these guys kept it professional, dude.
Yeah. Like, as much shit goes wrong in WCW, like, here, like, this went wrong, but still, you had three guys that are just... Because, let's say, the whole... the triple threat that happened in New Blood Rising with Goldberg and Kevin Nash and Scott Steiner, even though technically that was scripted, as in, like, Goldberg's just going to act like a piece of shit and not take the power bomb and all that. Like, that just looked like shit. It just looked like three guys not wanting to, wrestle and do their fucking job.
Yeah.
When here you had Kurt Angle, who was fucking zonked.
Yeah.
And he was
made it happen.
He still again, he had to take instructions from by the way, a 24-year-old Stephanie McMahon at the time.
Who was still great. And she was doing good in that role.
Yeah.
She was just becoming that bitch too.
Yeah.
But she was getting there, but she was still
But she's still a kid.
Yeah, and she was good. She's always been one of the better performers in the company.
Yeah.
But she really helped make this main event too.
Yeah. So like everybody just kind of doing like making sure and Rock and Triple H, because they can't go wrong with the two of them.
That's one of the greatest feuds ever.
Yeah.
The chemistry, it's Flair and Dusty level.
But it's just so funny when Rock's just like, what the fuck do we do?
Yeah.
And Triple H is just like, well, we keep working until we can get Kurt back out here.
How many spine busters you got?
Yeah. And then if Kurt couldn't have come out, they would have come up with a finish.
Yeah, Rock beat him clean. Everybody's still happy.
Yeah.
It's just not as much gaga. But yeah, I mean, it could have easily Rock bottom elbow, win the title, call it a day. But they had a story they wanted to tell, and damn it, they were going to tell it. And Kurt's like, oh, I'm good.
Yeah, and it's just so funny. Earl Hebner, which, by the way, Earl Hebner's the GOAT as far as referees go.
Yes.
Okay. When Earl's just like, he's not okay, but he'll be back out here, and like just call for him when you need him. And Triple H is just like, well, we kind of fucking need him now.
And Triple H is like doing a match and hearing this information, like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
That's why this is one of the more, and that's why when you hear these stories, you hear Triple H talking about it, and then you go back and watch the match, it's even more fun to watch. Even though seeing a guy get cussed isn't fun, and you don't want, like, I hope you always want Kurt to be okay, no brain damage. I mean, Kurt seems really happy and healthy nowadays. I mean, the rest of his body I know is fucked, but his brain seems pretty there. And but you never want to see anybody get hurt. But the fact that everything went wrong and these three professionals still made it a great match really speaks to it. Did you give it a rating, Eric?
I'll give it a 4.5.
All right, there you go.
Final
thoughts on SummerSlam. I think this was one of those cards. It was a good, decent SummerSlam. I don't think it ranks up with some of the best ones, but I do think it's a pretty good one. And I think you have enough flavor on this, and you have enough different but exciting but good stuff. You have really good. You have the Spot Fest match of all Spot Fest matches in TLC. You have an amazing bump that Shane takes. You had some pretty good wrestling with Jericho and Benoit, and you had a stellar fucking main event. So I all that to me combines to a 7-9, and I'm going to say this is a really good SummerSlam. Like I said, I don't know if it's even top 5, but I do think it's a really good SummerSlam, and I think the crowd went home happy, and that's what matters. So, Eric?
I really like this SummerSlam. I actually do think it's probably top 5 in my book. I would have to look back and watch other ones, but that you had everything in this pay-per-view. You had a hardcore match, you had a first ever TLC match, you had good wrestling match, and you had the triple threat. So I give it an 8.5.
Okay, so
hell yeah.
I give it an 8.3 because I do think that they were firing on all cylinders here. Yes, a couple of things were mediocre, but when you have 3 guys that bust their asses in the main event, when one of them's got a busted noggin, on the inside,
and this is the era where everything's over.
Yeah, and a TLC match that was fantastic. You had the Blackmon Shane thing, which was pretty cool. China got a nice moment. It was just, again, might not be top notch, but it was definitely up there as one of the better ones. So, but yeah, so I say 8-5.
All right.
I won't be on next week. I'll be back in 2 weeks.
And we'll be here talking about the Iron Sheik, baby.
Yeah.
I think
Which is
Cliff is back
crazy.
next
We go
week.
from a Hulk Hogan retrospective to an Iron Sheik retrospective.
Well, I did it. I suggested that on purpose.
Can't wait to talk about the man in the pointy boots.
Yep.
One of the legends. Me and Doug are going to do a lot of Sheik homework this week, and we're going to have a lot of fun talking about it.
And Cliff might be back next week too.
Oh my god!
Yeah, he said he'll be back.
All right, Doug, what are you doing on the cartoon show?
All right. The animated Anarchy series continues tomorrow on Animated Hour of Power. I mean, technically, I know what the matches are, but let me just look at them anyway. Real Monsters versus Real Ghostbusters.
Yep.
Yu Yu Hakusho versus Doug. Inspector Gadget versus Biker Mice from Mars. And Avatar The Last Airbender versus Digimon. And then this upcoming Wednesday on Animated Showdown, we're going to have Super Mario World versus Double Dragon. Gem and the Holograms versus Josie and the Pussycats. Samurai
I have a lot to
Shampoo.
say about that.
What?
I said I have a lot to say about those two shows.
Which one?
Probably more of the Pussycat one. I didn't like it. So.
Okay. Well, save it for the show. Samurai
I know.
Shampoo versus Samurai Jack, and your main event,
Samurai Shampoo.
Shampoo.
Oh, okay.
And your main event for Animated Showdown, which will drop next Wednesday, is Batman Beyond versus Spider-Man the Animated Series. Tomorrow's main event, however, is Avatar: The Last Airbender versus Digimon. So that's what we got. That's what we got coming up for that.
Yep.
All right. We'll see everybody next week, except for Eric. And I love you. And don't forget the shorts.
Love you guys. Of course.
Get back.
Bye, Doug.
Bye.